everything over the line back there. License and registration. Now.
I handed them to you already, officer. I'm waiting for you to tell me what's wrong.
Ma'am, step out of the vehicle.
For what? I'm not stalled. I'm sitting here like you asked.
Now.
Sarge, maybe...
A terrified black woman was dragged out of her own car by a highway cop, just because she reached for her insurance card. The officer shoved her, yelled at her, and treated her like a threat. But what he didn't know is that the quiet woman he was manhandling was one of the most powerful people in the entire state. A woman whose name could end a career with one phone call. And when her true identity came out, what happened next left the whole department shaking. Before we jump into this crazy story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Now, let's get into it. Ma'am, step out of the vehicle. Now. Officer Brett Halford's voice cracked through the cold evening air like a whip. Cars hissed past on Interstate 14. The sun dipped low behind the trees. And inside the black SUV, Tiana Caldwell froze, both hands gripping the wheel, eyes wide, breath shaking. I'm just trying to pull up my insurance, she said softly. Halford wasn't listening. He never did. His jaw clenched tight, and his hand hovered near his belt like he'd found his next big threat. A second officer stepped up, Officer Jenna Kesley, young, nervous, eyes darting. She looked like she wanted to speak but couldn't. She stayed quiet. Halford leaned halfway into the SUV, his chest puffed. I said step out. Why are you stalling, huh? Trying to hide something? Tiana swallowed. Sir, I'm not hiding anything. My phone, it froze. I just need. Get out of the car. His voice boomed so loud a man in another car slowed down to stare. Then, like most people do when trouble isn't theirs, he kept driving. Halford grabbed Tiana's wrist, not hard enough to injure but hard enough to scare, and pulled her halfway out of the seat. Stop. Please, she gasped. I haven't done anything. Jenna stepped forward. Brett, maybe let her. Back off, rookie, he growled. And right there, in the dying light of a cold American highway, a black woman was treated like a criminal for simply reaching for her insurance. Tiana Caldwell didn't look like someone important. Not tonight. Not in her old Navy work hoodie, her faded jeans, her tired eyes. She looked like any other single mother driving home after a long shift. But the way she held herself? The way she breathed slow even while being pulled from her car? The way she stayed calm under pressure? That came from a past no one here knew. Tiana had spent 8 years serving overseas as an intelligence officer. The kind of person who could walk into a foreign city and disappear into a crowd. The kind of person who had seen real danger, not imagined threats. But after returning home, she kept her life quiet. She worked in community leadership, built a small business, volunteered at schools, raised her son. To most people, she was just Tiana from down the block. And she liked it that way. But the badge in Officer Halford's hand didn't care about her past, only about his power. Halford tugged her out of the SUV, his voice still sharp. You people always try something, he muttered under his breath. Not a slur, but she felt it. The edge. The bite. The way he said you people like she was a box, not a human. Tiana stumbled but didn't resist. I'm not trying anything, she whispered. Her hands shook in the cold wind. The blue lights flashed against her face, making her look smaller, younger. Jenna shifted uncomfortably. Brett, she wasn't speeding. It was a small lane drift. Doesn't matter, he barked. This is how they act when they're hiding something. Tiana flinched at the word they. Halford pulled her to the back of the SUV. Jenna watched, jaw tight. The rookie wanted to speak, the rookie wanted to help, but the rookie was scared. Put your hands on the hood, Halford ordered. For what? Tiana whispered. I'm not fighting you. You're being detained for failure to comply. Tiana felt tears burn behind her eyes. Not because of fear. Because of something deeper. Something heavier. Humiliation. She had survived war zones. She had survived loss. She had survived injustice before. But this cut in a different way. Cars slowed to look. Faces stared, then turned away. Nobody said a word. Halford pressed her hands to the hood lightly, not forceful, but enough to make the message clear. You're not in control. Tiana stared at the silver metal beneath her palms. It felt cold. Her voice trembled. Officer, I haven't done anything wrong. Funny, Halford said. That's what they all say. There it was again. But Jenna swallowed, unable to look. Halford leaned close. Why'd you reach for your phone, huh? Trying to delete something? Trying to hide texts? Tiana closed her eyes. My insurance card is digital. I bet, he scoffed. Then he clicked the handcuffs open. Jenna stepped forward. Wait, Brett, are you sure? She wasn't. Do you want to take over this stop? He snapped. Jenna froze. Halford turned back to Tiana. You're going to sit in the cruiser until we sort this out. Tiana's jaw tightened. Sir, please don't put me in the car. I'm not a threat. Halford grabbed her arm again. And that was the moment, the exact moment, when something shifted in her eyes. A flicker of old strength. A flicker of a past she tried to bury. She took a slow breath. Officer Halford, you really don't want to do this. He laughed. Oh, I really think I do. Halford marched her toward the cruiser. Jenna followed, worried. Brett, we should check her ID again. Something feels? What feels off? He snapped. That she's not scared enough? That she's not crying? That she's not begging? It's always the quiet ones who snap. Jenna didn't answer. Tiana felt the weight of the world pressing on her chest. Not because she feared the cuffs. Not because she feared Halford. Because she feared what would come after. She spoke softly. Officer Kesley, you don't have to let this happen. Jenna swallowed. Her eyes glistened. Oh, I'm new. I can't step in. Tiana nodded sadly. I understand. And she did. Rookie or veteran, black or white, young or old, fear is fear. Tiana had felt it before too. Halford opened the cruiser door. Get in. I didn't break the law, she whispered. You did now. He went to push her down into the seat. Then his radio crackled. Unit 4, confirm identity on the subject. Urgent. Halford rolled his eyes. Yeah, send it. The dispatcher's voice came through again, sharper. Unit 4. Do not detain the subject. Repeat, do not detain. Return her ID immediately. Halford frowned. What? Why? Subject is flagged in the governor's secure registry, the dispatcher said quickly. Highly ranked state asset. Requests immediate confirmation of well-being. Halford froze. Jenna's head snapped up. What does that mean? Tiana said nothing. Halford stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. Who are you? Tiana met his eyes, calm and steady now. The calm of someone who had held a gun to her own chest to save others. The calm of someone who had been trained to stay steady during storms. My name is Mrs. Tiana Caldwell, she said quietly. Director of the State Intelligence Response Council. And I warned you, you didn't want to do this. Halford's face drained of color. Jenna stepped back, eyes wide, hand over her mouth. The flashing blue lights suddenly felt too bright. The world suddenly felt too still. The world around them didn't move. Not the cars. Not the wind. Not even Officer Brett Halford, who suddenly looked like he'd forgotten how to breathe. Tiana stood straight beside the cruiser door, her wrist still caught awkwardly in his grip. Not cuffed, but close enough to show how far he'd pushed her. She didn't yank back. She didn't raise her voice. She just waited. Jenna Kesley blinked hard, whispering under her breath, Director? Like, that director? The one they briefed us about? The one with restricted clearance. Tiana didn't answer with pride. She answered with a quiet, tired truth. Yes. Halford finally let go of her arm. His fingers trembled. I didn't know. You didn't say. You didn't ask, Tiana replied softly. She wasn't cruel. She wasn't gloating. But her calm tone cut deeper than shouting ever could. Halford opened his mouth, shut it, opened it again, like a man drowning and realizing the surface is too far above him. Ma'am? Director Caldwell. I apologize, he stammered. Tiana didn't move. Didn't soften. Didn't meet him halfway. Officer Halford, she said slowly, apologies are what people give when they made a mistake. What you did wasn't a mistake. It was a habit. Jenna flinched. Halford swallowed hard. Cars kept passing, but now drivers lingered, watching the strange scene. Not a woman being dragged into a cruiser, but a woman standing tall, while a highway officer suddenly shrank before her. Halford tried to recover his posture. Tried to stand straighter. Tried to look like the man in charge. But the wind had shifted. Authority had moved. Everyone felt it. Ma'am, he said stiffly, if I had known who you were, Tiana lifted one finger. Just one. And he went silent. You believe people deserve respect only when you know their title, she said quietly. Not when you know their humanity. Her words were soft. But each sentence hit him like a slow, steady hammer. I broke no law, she continued. I reached for my insurance. You escalated because you assumed what I was. Jenna squeezed her hands together, blinking back guilt. Tiana's eyes found Halford's again, not angry, not hateful, just disappointed in a way that felt heavier than rage. You saw a black driver and decided it meant danger, she said. You didn't check my documents. You didn't listen to my explanations. You didn't observe my behavior. She paused. You reacted to your fear. Halford opened his mouth again. No words came. Tiana stepped slightly to the side so she wasn't beneath the cruiser lights anymore. So she could breathe. Do you know what terrifies me most? She whispered. Not you. Not tonight. But that another woman like me, someone without my position, someone without my protection, would not be standing here this way. Silence fell heavy. Jenna wiped her cheek quickly, hoping no one noticed the tear. A man from a nearby car cracked his window. Ma'am, are you okay? He called out carefully. Tiana nodded. Yes, I'm fine. But the crowd was forming now, slow at first, then growing. Cars parked on the shoulder. People stepped out quietly, drawn by the tone, the tension, the shift in power. Halford's eyes darted nervously between them. He knew this wasn't just a stop anymore. This was a story. A story he no longer controlled. Halford's radio crackled sharply. Unit 4, respond immediately. Director Caldwell's authorization team is en route to your location. Halford's face drained even more. Authorization team. The kind of people who audited officers. The kind of people who didn't bluff. Jenna looked at him. Brett, this is bad. He whispered, I know. And then, against every instinct he had, he turned to Tiana with a desperate, nervous tremble. Ma'am, please, I'm asking you, professionally, don't report this in full detail. I've had a long career. I can fix. Tiana's eyebrows lowered. Fix. You know, lighten the wording, save what can be saved. Jenna stepped back. Even she wasn't expecting that kind of plea. Tiana closed her eyes slowly, like she was holding back the weight of a decade. Officer Halford, she said. You dragged me out of my vehicle. You grabbed me. You frightened me. You embarrassed me on the side of a highway I help oversee. And your worry is about your wording? He had no answer. Jenna stepped forward, voice shaking but steady enough to be heard. Director Caldwell. I tried to stop him, she said. Not enough. I know. I froze. I should have done more. I'm sorry. Her voice cracked on the last two words. Tiana nodded slowly. Thank you, she said. Not because Jenna had stopped anything, but because she finally said something. Jenna took a shaky breath. I'll file my own report. Truthfully. I'll stand by it. Halford snapped toward her. Kesley, don't you? Tiana held up her hand again. Officer Kesley, she said gently, do what your conscience tells you. Jenna nodded, eyes shining. This was the moment that would shape her whole career. 3 dark SUVs pulled up, silent and smooth. No sirens. No lights. Just presence. Men and women in plain jackets stepped out, not soldiers, not police, but the kind of people whose badges didn't shine but meant far more. Every officer knew the type. Halford stepped backward without realizing. The lead agent approached. Director Caldwell. Are you harmed? Tiana straightened her hoodie. No. Just insulted. The agent nodded once, then turned toward Halford. Officer Brett Halford, please step aside. Halford swallowed. Look, this is being blown out of. Step aside, the agent repeated. Halford obeyed. Jenna's breath hitched. She had never seen a cop look so small. The agent spoke crisply. Officer Halford, you are being placed on immediate administrative leave pending investigation. What? No, I was doing my job. The agent didn't blink. You escalated a stop without cause, failed to perform standard verification, ignored your partner's concern, and placed a protected state asset under unlawful detainment. People around them murmured. Halford's face turned red. I didn't know she was important. Tiana's voice cut sharp through the air. And that is exactly the problem. Halford's mouth opened, but nothing came out. The agent continued, you may contest the decision through internal review. You will wait in your vehicle until escorted. Halford stood there, stunned, then slowly walked away, each step heavy, limp, defeated. The crowd watched him, not with joy, not with hatred, but with the cold stare people give when someone is finally exposed. The agent turned to Tiana. We can escort you home. She shook her head. No. I can drive. Jenna stepped closer. Director Caldwell. I want to say again. I'm sorry. Tiana studied her, really studied her. You're young, she said quietly. You still have time to choose who you become. Don't let fear turn you into someone else's shadow. Jenna nodded, tears forming again. I won't. Tiana believed her. The crowd slowly dispersed. The wind settled. The light faded fully from the sky. Tiana walked back to her SUV, her steps slow but steady. She opened the door, placed her hands on the steering wheel, and breathed, deeply, painfully, like letting go of something that had been stuck inside her for years. The lead agent leaned down beside her window. "What do you want written in the report?" he asked. Tiana looked at the highway lights reflecting off the glass. For a moment she thought of her son. His dark skin. His bright eyes. His fear of the world she hoped to change. "Write the truth," she said finally. "All of it." "Yes, ma'am." Tiana started the engine. The radio hummed softly. The headlights lit the road. Before driving off, she whispered one last line to herself. A line that would sit deep, timeless, painful, and powerful. One day they'll learn that respect shouldn't depend on a title. Then she drove into the night. If you felt this story, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring more powerful stories like this to life. And tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were Officer Jenna Kesley? We're reading every single response.